Summer wind came blowing in from across the sea. It lingered there to touch your hair. Walk with me. All summer long we sang a song and strolled that golden sand to a sweetheart's hand. The summer wind. Hey, the gang's here! It's Fluffy and Cordeco and Haroon, and Pingus and Johnny Boy and Prasanna, Jean-Pierre, Maureen, Anbu, Dark Dingo Austin. Hey, Morgan, Mr. Croissant, Josh, what's going on with the... How did notifications go out like this, you guys? This is almost like... This was close to being like the old days when notifications were actually a thing. Holy shit. Hey, sports fan, good to have you, pal. Wow. Always try to put my psycho death metal gym music on hold when I get that. You know what's really weird, Nolan? My workout music is like on the chill side, and I don't know why. I mean, I've got a few more jack up type songs. I've got Welcome to the Jungle on there, and a few like that. But for the most part, they're like really chill, which makes like zero sense. But the story of my life. Hey, Ando says, so excited I'm going to a 3-day Comic-Con. Nice. Here in my city of Albuquerque. Hell to the yes. Good for you. I want to go back to a Comic-Con so bad. Or even more so another Anime Fest. I mean, Comic-Con was great, don't get me wrong. But Anime Fest was really, well, when you're an anime nerd, I mean, it's right in your wheelhouse. But, yeah, I wouldn't mind going back down for both. Because we went to the one at the Javits Center in New York. It was a good time. Hi, Morgan. Can only stick around for 15 minutes. What's up, bro? I'm glad you popped in while you could, though, Morgan. Yeah, I got my workout playlist. Well, actually, it's a little different. I go to a little, depending on what I'm doing. If I'm lifting weights, it's a different one than if I'm hitting the bag. The one I use when I'm hitting the bag is a lot more jacked up now that I think about it. It's just that I've been, with both my shoulders ripped to shreds, I'd been off hitting the bags for so long. I just now got back to it, and I still have to really contain anything I throw with my left hand to not rip that shoulder apart again. But I tend to forget about that. But yeah, that was more jacked up now that I think about it. Mr. Touchy-touchy, yes, Maureen. Brian says equality in society. Oh, sorry, I thought this was the joke stream. Thought you wanted to hear a joke. Johnny says, tomorrow's your last day in Indiana? Where are you heading off to, pal? How much can I curl? It's funny you say that, Prasanna. That's how I injured both shoulders. Is actually, they aren't the most pronounced or biggest muscle group that I've ever developed, but biceps were always my strongest, by far, by a lot. And so when I went back to training with weights again, which was months ago, I just picked up where I left off. Now I like dumbbell training. So I have those adjustable dumbbells. Well, the top setting on them is 52.5 pounds. It's like I actually curl with more than that per arm, but it's like that'll do. So I took and I did my curls, and that's how I injured, because I wasn't thinking, I'm old, and the muscles are still strong enough to curl that much weight, but it put so much tension on these old shitty tendons in my shoulders that it ripped the shit out of everything. That's how I hurt them. So how much can I curl when I'm healthy? If I'm using an Olympic bar, I put about 150 on for my curls. Yeah, I see the new ERB is out. I might get around to react to. I love ERB. It's just that I know both of those characters, or both of those people. I mean, they're legitimate people, but not a ton about them. Richard and the Viking. I can't think of the Viking guy's name. I probably know enough to enjoy it, though. I'll have to look back into it. Lord Coldcut says a group of horny toads, oh my, are trying to make their home in my backyard, and I don't mean sexually frustrated frogs. I mean the lizards that shoot blood from their eyes. Nice. Yikes. That sounds like something out of a horror film. The Slipknot album. I'm not real familiar with Slipknot, bro. And that's his screen name, bro. I'm not just broing him. Yo, bro. But yeah, I know a little, not a lot of Slipknot at all. Well, thanks, Josh. I appreciate that. He says, you aren't old, dude. I can't, I will admit, and I think a lot of this is thanks to you guys, I certainly don't feel old. And that's the most important thing. I find it absolutely, to be honest with you, stunning when I think about the fact that I'm going to be 60 this year. It just doesn't seem possible. A definite bro, Jack says, yeah. What was my workout during wrestling days, Fluffy? All for power. Because back then, that's, I wasn't one of the top power guys, but that went best with my hardcore gimmick. So it was all low reps, high weights. My bench was, it's funny, my reps in the bench were good, but my single push bench was never all that big. I think the most, I ended up just short of 400, 385, 390, something like that. I never passed 4. Yet I could bench press 2 1/4 like 25 times. I mean, that doesn't really, that should be a higher max bench than that. But as far as, like I say, the biceps were always the strongest muscle group I had. My deadlift was really good too. I could go to 600 pounds deadlifting. But back in the day, I would have a good 150 pounds on an Olympic bar to do my reps with curls. Oh, you used your 1 week vacation from work, Johnny? I wish. Thanks, Logan. He says your face is 60, but your arms say 45. I said, that's the one good thing. Working out is never something difficult for me because I like it. I really enjoy it. Whether it's hitting the bag. I keep saying bag. I don't have any place to hang a bag, so I've got one of those bobs stand-ups there. What are they called? Century bobs. And this is the only thing that will of the ones that are based on the floor is the only one that'll stand up to the beating. You get those regular bags that have stands on the floor, and within a couple days you punch the bag right off the stand. Johnny hasn't gotten a notification in months. Johnny, it's crazy. It's really crazy. That's why that we're going with the channel is going to be moving a lot towards. We'll still do reaction vids, but it's going to be very just specific ones. But any videos I make for the channel, Susan just ignores them. So it's going to be the live streams, going to be a lot more gaming streams. I would want it to. I don't think I'm going to be able to fit it in. I finally got, I had all kinds of issues with it. I finally got GTA 5 back up and working on my system again. And I just want to go in. I told you guys yesterday, I just want to go in and use a bunch of cheat codes and create havoc because I like doing that. So that'll be the next gaming stream. But today, after this stream, I'm shooting footage for 2 different comedy videos I'm going to post over. I've switched over to Facebook for the comedy videos because Susan does not send out notifications. The notifications I get, what I've determined is if it's not something that's already established, in other words, if it doesn't say reaction video, ERB or something like that on it, notifications are next to nothing. So I've moved that stuff and I'm building an audience over there, and I've only been doing it for about a week. I've gotten the audience up to 300 over at Facebook, over 300 people. And I'm going to post my comedy videos there, and I got to shoot 2 of them today, the footage for 2 of them. That's actually not a bad idea, Prasanna. Says my workout playlist is basically every anime battle music. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah, I'm just going to go batshit, Krusty. I just like, that's the fun of GTA. I wouldn't mind getting back to it and doing the missions again at some point too. But right now, I just feel like going in and going ham on people. And I, of course, I want to get back to, Village. What's the name what's the name of the game? That's one of those names that just absolutely won't stick for me. It's gone out of my head. But anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. The game we played the first round of. Curse you, snap part of the Thanos super freaking battles. Well, thanks, Angelina. Solaris says Susan never sent me a notification for like 3rd stream in a row. It's so hard here, guys. It really is. It's unfortunate. I had thought about moving the streams, and I went through everything, but it's really not fair to people because everything I do at the Patreon has to be behind a paywall, even if it's only the $1 a month. And some people just can't, and I don't like leaving people out. So we're Resident Evil. Thank you guys. Yeah, Resident Evil. Thank you. But yeah, I want to play more Resident Evil Village. But before that, we're gonna just take a dip into the waters of GTA 5. There's some cheats I've never even used before. I want to spawn some of the stuff I haven't seen and create havoc with that. Excuse me. Somebody had told me that, Josh. He says, hey, Curtis, you know that Akira Toriyama hates Dragon Ball Evolution and doesn't consider it a Dragon Ball movie. If he disapproves, then you know you colossally fucked up. Yeah, the gang had told me that before when we were having conversations about that Toriyama hates it. Wow. Big Green says, it's like the 100th stream in a row for me. I don't remember the last stream notification. Now, that's where you know, again, that's just absolute living proof that YouTube is full of shit with the whole notification thing. Because Big Green has been in virtually every stream we do for how long, BG? Years. I mean, literally years. And he's a mod. I mean, what more do you have to do to get a notification? Just doesn't matter to them. And again, whenever I contact them about it, no, we're all lying. That doesn't happen. They sent them out. Please. Wolverine at Universal Studios requesting sticky stuff. That's cool. You're down at Universal? Love Universal Studios. And the way Disney's going, I'm liking them more and more. Some of the things they're doing in the Disney parks. GTA 5 is a game that has existed on 3 generations of consoles. Prasanna says, let that sink in. Yeah, I saw that mentioned on, it was just a meme. Somebody memed that on social media. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah. And it's popular. The meme had a breakdown. It's really popular across everything as well. It's a great game. GTA 5 really is. San Andreas is still my favorite, but GTA 5 is just fantastic. Johnny says, I would legit spit in Susan's face if she was in front of me. And you know, that's the worst part about it, Johnny, is, okay, even if, you know, we can be willing to acquiesce that when you run a company as big as YouTube and with the amount of traffic they deal with, that there can be issues. But why lie to us about it? That's the part that gets me. Why lie? Why say, oh, no, it doesn't happen? They never admit to anything unless they absolutely 100% have to. Otherwise, it's just like I've told you guys when we're streaming. You guys have seen it happen. We'll start getting lag in the stream. I'll run a speed test while the stream is running. My speed is fucking lightning, and the prompt I get blames the fact that there's lag on me. You're not sending us enough information to get a smooth stream. You're so fucking full of shit. That's so much bullshit. I can prove that I am. But even in their prompts, everything blames something on the end user, on the YouTuber. It's never their fault. God of War, I played a little bit of that. That was cool. Big Green says GTA 5 is starting to become the next Skyrim or Doom in terms of how often it gets ported. It's worth it. Yeah, it is. It's a great game, great series, and now with a new Saints Row coming out, because I have to admit, as far as those types of games, just that random insanity and violence and all that stuff, Saints Row is my favorite. Just because the humor in it's a little bit more on point than GTA. Both of them have great violence. Both of them have great characters. But Saints Row is my favorite. Plus, come on, Saints Row has the penetrator. When you've got a weapon of that magnitude, you're playing on an elite level. Solara says, honestly, when I get a notification, I'm legitimately surprised. YouTube is full of bullshit. Everyone knows they are. God forbid they blame something on themselves. And you're right. And that pisses me off more than the issues themselves, is that they deny their issues. But that always cracks me up. As soon as if you start seeing some lag on the stream or something, you can guarantee on my desktop here, I'll be getting a prompt explaining why it's my fucking fault. It's stunning. Mr. Croissant says, I'm jealous of some people in this stream. I heard someone was at Universal. Yeah, Wolverine. Care to switch lives for a few days? I'll give you boring Indianapolis and you give me Florida. Yeah, I think it. Well, yeah, I think it's. I didn't even think that's because there's the Universal in California too. I think that's a little closer to Wolverine, but I think he's in the Florida one. Well, thanks, creative name. That's nice of you to say. Oink. Jesus Christ, dude. My workout music is silence because I like to suffer. Jeez. Would it surprise you then to know, and this is really the case, I could show it to you on my phone if you didn't believe me, Sounds of Silence is on my workout, is on my weightlifting workout mix. Johnny says, I always get sidetracked being a menace to society in Saints Row and GTA. Fuck the missions. Me too. All the time. That's why this next stream I'm going to do, I'll title it that way just so people aren't disappointed. If they're coming in to watch me accomplish missions, don't bother. This is just going to be about putting in badass cheat codes and kicking the shit out of things and blowing stuff up. B Green says, I've always been more of a fan of GTA personally, but it's nostalgia. I've been a fan since GTA 2. Yeah. Well, I told you guys I played the original one. I don't even remember what system that was on or anything. I just, as I had said, I just remember the overhead view you took of everything, and you know the cars were just little square blobs and stuff. That's not a bad idea, Prasanna. He says, honestly, instead of music, I sometimes listen to podcasts because it keeps me entertained while I work out. I could see doing that for like cardio. I like to have the music for, again, hitting the bag or weightlifting. But yeah, if I was on the treadmill or even, going for a walk, jog, whatever, I could see that. Yeah, if you had a good podcast. Rosa says, you're jealous. I've been driving all over Texas. Most people I have to work with are like bad transphobes. Worst part, I'm passing as a girl with almost all of them now. Jeez, Rosa. Yeah, I can't even imagine what... I can't even imagine what you deal with that, and especially doing the job you're doing now with truck driving. I can't even imagine. Saints Row 4 also has a tentacle back. Good point, Timothy. Yeah, they are. They're imaginative as hell, and like I say, the humor in it is so good too. Thank you, Jack. I appreciate that. As you'll see, guys, and I'll explain that, because we are going to be moving away from... not away from. We're not going to be posting as many just standalone videos at the channel anymore because there's no sense. Susan doesn't tell any of you guys about them anyway when we do. We're going to be doing, but the content's still going to be here. We're going to be doing the regular live streams and way more gaming, and I'll keep communicating with you guys in the community tab because for whatever reason, she sends out notifications on the community tab. So because of that, we know that what allows me to do all this and have the time to do all this is the Patreon. So every so often you'll see the mods are just going to post a reminder to anybody that either wants to come over and hang out and do the anime stuff with us or just wants to support the channel. The Patreon is the best way to do it. Mr. Croissant says, my gym and jogging playlist consists of many openings from anime. Braxton's too. Battle themes and good old hip hop from the 90s and early 2000s. Always try to squeeze in Footloose too. Footloose was actually, I mean, it gets made fun of and it was hokey, and the concept of the movie was fucking inane. There's not going to be any more dancing. But the music was actually good. There's a lot of good songs. Footloose itself was a good song. I Need a Hero. There was good music in that. Leslie says, I think Susan's bipolar because when she's in a good mood, she gives notification. When she's in a bad mood, she gives none. Yeah, she's either bipolar or just a bitch. One, could go either way. I couldn't agree more, Prasanna. Prasanna says, more games need Saints Row levels of not giving a fuck. Solaris says, I despise modern YouTube. It's becoming too corporate and everybody is suffering from it. A few years ago, get your camera ready and just begin recording and you get hundreds of views. Yeah. And what really annoys me, Solaris, is what they've done to us as creators as far as our own audiences that we've been able to curate over the years. Now, again, I've been doing this channel over 10 years. So we have 290,000 subscribers, but I'll guarantee you the vast majority of them probably don't even know we exist. For one thing I do know is when they went to that system where they added the bell, if you as a subscriber didn't go back through and tick the bell for people that you'd already subscribed to, you don't see anything from them anymore. So they basically obliterate, because who's going to think to do that? They basically obliterated a huge part of our subscriber base with that. And now, even when you do tick the bell, and even if you do put notifications on all, we know for a fact they don't get them all the time. And for whatever reason, our site, it was a little over a year ago, got in the crosshairs of YouTube, and it was like an instantaneous thing. Everything on the channel just dropped off that next day. I don't know what we did, but that's where they put us. And that's why the comedy stuff, I'm moving that to the channel I set up, or the page I set up at Facebook. And then here we'll have the occasional reaction vids on the main channel. Anything that I make that I think some of you guys will be interested in, I'll put up there, even though Susan won't give notifications on them. But we're going to really put a lot of emphasis on the gaming streams. Yeah, Mr. Croissant says Susan doesn't like giving notifications. She saw Curtis and his muscles today, and she suddenly had a change of heart. Curtis, I think Susan wants to join your harem. Whatever it would take. Yeah, Mr. Croissant. Yeah. Oh, I know, Solaris. I know. He says, I'm not even kidding, Curtis. The bell doesn't even work. I never get notifications for your content, and I've got the bell tick, notifications on all, and I get nothing no matter what. Yes, I believe you, pal. And when I had those conversations with YouTube, the last time was about a stream where there had to be 20 people came into the chat later, either private, and I either got private message or commented on the stream that they didn't get a notification. And they were telling me, just like you did, it's like I ticked the bell, I jumped through all their hoops for them, and they won't send them to me. So, and I was polite, because if you have over a certain number of subscribers, you can get to YouTube support. I was very polite. I wasn't being a dick. And I just said, can somebody just explain to me, what do we need to do? And first you get the auto response, which made no sense because it just picks out keywords and you get a canned response. So I wrote back and I said, would it be possible to actually talk to someone in support, an actual human? And I said the same thing. We just want to understand. Long story short, they basically said, no, that didn't happen. And I said, well, why would 20 people come to me all independently of one another and say it did happen? I mean, there's no gain in it for them. Why would they say that? Well, I don't know, but we checked and your notifications went out. Come on, you didn't fucking check anything, you fucking lying monkey. We checked, yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, I've checked out the VTubers, Shank, on mainly on the and I got to do another one of those for you guys. I'm sorry, I forgot this week. On the video clip streams that we do, the gang has been posting the VTubers for me, so I've been checking them out in the short clips. They're really, like I've said, they're entertaining. Way, way more entertaining than I ever imagined they would be. I had the wrong impressions about them. They're good. Johnny Boy says, Curtis, was nice talking to you. Have a nice day. Well, you too, my friend. Thanks for popping in here while you could. Ego test Melvin voice. A very bad Susan indeed. Yeah. Isn't that true, Jack? Well, I'll qualify it a little. But at least when dealing with corporations, politeness rarely and sadly has never ever worked for me. I agree. I think interpersonal relationships, unfortunately, it still works on a significant number of occasions. But yes, in dealing with any type of corporation, for sure, no. Or the government. Corporations or any form of government, politeness gets you nowhere. Basically, with corporation or government, you have to have a strong enough case and the money to back it up to threaten to sue them before they'll pay attention to you at all. Rosa says, I don't know shit about computers, so this may be a stupid question, but how do they even know if the notification went out to everyone? Well, that's what it is, Rosa. I mean, supposedly now, Google hires some of the best internet technology engineers in the world. So they should be able to, on an individual basis, go through, check my channel and say, hey, these notifications went out. They should have it set up to do that. Do they? I don't know. What I do feel confident in saying is that person was fucking bald-faced lying to me and saying that they went and checked. Why would they go and check? You're going to say the same thing anyway. You already denied that it happened. So they're just bullshitters. And actually, you make a good point, Rosa. Considering that they have the best IT engineers in the world at their disposal, it's abysmal the way things run at YouTube. Logan says, I work for the government. Kind of true. Yeah, and by that, Logan, too, I should qualify that as well. I don't mean to say that the people, everybody working for the government's a dick or something. They're just doing what they're told to do. And it's the government as an entity that tells them how they are to react in certain situations. That's what Big Green says. They don't know. That's why the notifications are so fucked in the first place. And that's what gets me too. That is the simplest thing in the world would have been for them to never screw around with that and let people take care of their own subscriptions. No, stick the fucking bell in your ass. If somebody clicks to subscribe, they get notifications. Period. Because that's simple. I mean, from the technology standpoint as well, from the engineering standpoint. Very, very simple then. That person is subscribed to a channel. When that channel posts something, it goes to them. Now, if that channel, which was supposedly the reason the bell came in and everything, was posting too much content or was a nuisance because they were always giving updates on this, that, then the people know how to go and unsubscribe. It's always that YouTube is seemingly... there's more to it than that, but they're like taking that extra step to make sure that they're in charge of your viewing experience rather than you being in charge of it. Exactly, Big Green. Exactly. Just give me all the videos. If I don't want to see somebody's videos anymore, I'll unsubscribe. That's what YouTube is great for fixing shit that isn't broken ever since Google took over. And that's just what they did with the bell. They fixed something that wasn't even broken. Nobody was begging for a bell. Nobody was saying, oh, no, I need to, when I subscribe, I want to be able to take an extra step and really delineate things, how I get. Nobody was asking for that. Because, again, just like Big Green said, people aren't stupid. If they're getting too many notifications from someone or notifications about stuff that they're not interested in, they'll click to go and subscribe. Problem solved. Philip says, speaking of government, Canadian Parliament pushed through a bill to censor the internet. It's not law yet, but I'm not getting my hopes up for the Senate doing anything to stop it. Yeah, I've said over and over, I mean, I'm a politically aware person. I'm politically conscious. But it would take a lot to get me out in the streets. That would do it. If they start coming after our First Amendment in any real significant form, yeah, I'm going to have a major fucking problem with it. I'll be out there with whoever else wants to go clamoring to have that. I mean, that, to me, that's Viva la Revolucion time. That's a big, big deal to me. Josh says, is Spaz Kid a millennial? I'm a 26-year-old millennial, and not all of us are bad. Though, trust me, we've got some bad apples in our generation. No, he's considered, what is it, Z? He was born in 2000, so he's not actually a millennial. He knows what it is. Is it Gen Z? But he's not officially the millennial crew. No, and all millennials aren't. But that's Josh. That's more bullshit that we get from social media and places like that. Anyway, all millennials aren't bad, just like all boomers aren't bad, or any. You can't make generalities like that. And I got news for you. They talk about how with the younger generation, the country's in trouble because they don't want to do this, they don't want to do that. They've been saying that about the young generation for every generation of my life. Come on. It's like anything else. Yes, when people are young, there's a significant number of them that may not have a lot of ambition. That doesn't mean that's what they're going to turn out to be as adults or how they're going to be as adults. It's been going on forever. Rosa says, I'm not going to lie, there's currently some politicians I would kill without any regrets if given the chance. Rosa, it's unfortunate, but I tell you, I think a lot of people share that. I've told you guys, until this last few years, I have never been as down on politicians in general as I am now. They're a lot of them, and this is both sides of the aisle. Trust me, I mean that when I say that. Both sides of the aisle, they are working against us a lot. They are working to try and get us at one another's throats because it works out well for them. For politicians, this all or nothing, you're either with me or against me thing, works well. They don't want, neither side wants shades of gray. Neither side wants to work together to find compromise. They both want things done their own way. And the way they can get that done is to keep us at one another's throats. Philip says, even worse, they're pushing through another bill to ban any site that criticizes government officials or politicians, whether it's Canadian or not. Are you serious? What the fuck? They're not going to allow criticism of government? Well, there's no place in the world where that's been tried before and led to some seriously horrific consequences. Holy shit, Philip. I don't know what I'd do. I'd lose my shit if they did that here. I'd be off the fucking wall. Wow. That's stunning to me. The Dragon of Hatred says, Curtis, just run for pres. You're probably not old enough, and I don't think you're gropey or forget everything or whisper. I tell you, you know what, you guys? I had that Curtis 2024 thing. I thought of resurrecting it just based on principle, just so we could have conversations about it. It stuns me. I mean, and come on, no matter which side you're... And when I say this, guys, throw any political leanings, as I'm doing, because I have political leanings too, throw them out. Let's just look at the last two guys that have been president and all the warts that come with them. I mean, I voted for Trump because, and again, my vote for president is always 100% on policy because policy-wise, he's more aligned with me. But the guy is an idiot. But I would have said that before he ran for president. I live in New York. We're well aware of Donald Trump, have been for decades. He's a buffoon, and he's got such a runaway, ridiculous ego that it completely ruined any chance he had to legislate properly. And now you've got a guy who is a doddering idiot. This isn't the Joe Biden I saw in politics for the last 50 years. I mean, he started to lose it or something. The other day, can you imagine even saying something remotely close to what he did about when he talks about people in the country being unrest in the country and people talking about rising up against the government, and he tells them, well, you're gonna rise up. You better have some F-15s and some nukes, which is a thinly veiled threat to nuke your own fucking people, you asshole. You fucking psychopathic, no, not psychopathic, you fucking delusional idiot. Crawl the fuck out of public eye. What the hell is going on now? I mean, and these are the back-to-back presidents we've had. No. Oh, no. Suctorial Poem says, Curtis, do you think we'll ever get another show like All in the Family again? No. Nobody would have the balls to broadcast that anymore, pal. No fucking way. Because people can't laugh at anything anymore. You know, I remember watching it as a kid. You watched it and you realized it was absurdity. You know, the racist that Archie Bunker was, you were laughing at him, not with him. You understood that, but people won't make that delineation anymore. Yeah. Krusty Bomb says, well, all I can say is that Joe is saying the quiet parts out loud. That stunned me. That really stunned me. I mean, I know, you know, the stuttering thing he's always had. He's always been a gaffe machine. He's always said goofy things. But losing his concentration for extended periods of time right in the middle of sentences. I mean, this is why he's very careful about how often he's speaking to the press, speaking to anybody without a teleprompter. And that's why. Because when you let him out on his own, he threatens to nuke his own citizens and stuff. That blew my mind. Johnny Bravocado says, someone tried to cancel me because Carol O'Connor is one of my favorite actors because he was racist, even though he was liberal. SJWs are starting to think fictional characters are real. Yikes. Yeah, I was just going to say, Carol O'Connor was extremely liberal. But that's the way it is, Johnny. Nobody wants to hear anything. They want to be in their own little bubble with their own echo chamber, telling each other what a good job they're doing for getting somebody canceled because they had a thought process that did not agree with their own. And that's what we're living in right now. Yeah, Carol O'Connor was wildly liberal. That's why it was so bizarre him playing Archie Bunker, because he was the absolute antithesis of him. Yeah, great point, Philip. You can't fight the U.S. military with assault rifles. Tell that to the Taliban and the Viet Cong. They seem to have a good go at it. Yep, absolutely. 100% correct. Afghanistan. How many major world powers has Afghanistan kicked the shit out of by hiding in caves with rifles? Including the U.S., including Russia. Come on. But to say something like that, even if and that's what everybody comes to his defense, instead of just calling him out and saying, hey, that was a stupid thing to say, of course you're going to have people defending him. And they say, well, we understand what he meant. No. You can't be the president of the U.S. and be so unaware that you would even say anything along those lines, period. Period. You're just not fit for the job. And here we are in a nation that's closer to civil war than it's been since the Civil War. And you're going to go out there and you're going to poke people with things like that? With threatening to nuke them? What the fuck? Josh says, once again, reality is stranger than fiction. If these politicians aren't careful, we might be living the Fallout life except with zero precautions. It's scary, Josh. And the thing of it is, we talk about, I make a joke out of the Curtis 2024 thing, but think about it. And we can talk about it right here. Pretty much every major issue affecting us right now here in the U.S. and in larger part of the world, there are good jumping off points for moderation, for putting into place things where nobody gets everything, but everybody gets something, and letting us all work together. But nobody is interested in it on the national political scene, because again, they like those encampments. They want it to be us versus them. That's what they're after. If I were president, the first thing I'm doing, and it would be a hell of a chore, I'm trying to force Congress to start giving more power to the states and localities. You want to get people off edge? You want to get people stepping back from wanting to come at each other, a civil war? Then let people start living their lives by location. Because we know that for a fact. That's why our system of electing a president is set up the way it is. That's why the Electoral College exists, because we know that people of like minds tend to group together. So let them make their own rules. Now, that's not to say on everything. Obviously, we still have a constitution. There are a lot of things that still need to be handled at a national level. But minimum wage should be handled on local levels, not just state, all the way down to localities. All that federal government should be involved with in that is making sure that the minimum wage is the minimum that the worst economy in the country can support. As far as I have what I think would be the best solution for getting health care to people. But aside from that, then allow them, say, okay, this is my plan, and this is how we're going to go about it on a national level. If you believe that single-payer health care is the way to go, which I do not, I think you will pay through the nose for it, and you'll get inferior service. But if you think that's the case, do it on a state level. The federal government doesn't have to do that. If you've got enough people in, say, California that want single-payer, let them pay less money to the federal government, more money to their state government, and let them put it in place. There's tons of things like that. Let people live the way they want to live. Stop making the federal government, take over all states' rights. Shank says, what do you think of John McAfee's death? Well, it's impossible not to question it with as often as he said he would not commit suicide, Shank. That alone just makes it impossible not to question. Luke says, here's what we're going to do. Just fucking kill everyone. It'll be funny. Kaiser says, the irony is the UN in trying to remove Belarus as leader. The citizens want him out because he apparently rigs votes and has been in power for years, but he seems to not bow to COVID laws. just across the world. I mean, we have a lot of issues here in America, but it's all over the world. Solar says Democrats are thinly veiled Republicans. Republicans are thinly veiled Democrats. It's essentially a one-party system now, and the choice between Biden and Trump was red tyrant or blue tyrant. That is really sad. That's not far off, Solaris. And to take it a step further, both parties are being largely steered by their extremist base. For a while, it was just, for me, I mean, in recent history, it was just the Democrats. The extreme left has gotten a good and you guys know I don't like extremists, has gotten a good foothold in the Democratic Party in the respect that even the moderates are afraid to make a move that might ruffle feathers on their extreme side. But now you got the same thing going on with the Republicans with the extremist Trump supporters. Now, I say extremists because it's not all Trump supporters. Just like with liberals, it's not all liberals. It's the extreme factions. And now the Republicans are afraid to make any moves that might ruffle the feathers of their extremists. So this is just going to continue now. We're in end of days here. There's nothing going to be done about it. Right now, Congress is like a bunch of fucking kids. Like a bunch of fucking 5-year-olds that can't get along. And somehow, some way, and it's not going to happen, we need a president in there, okay, who will go in and say, listen, assholes, everything still has to come through me. I still have the power of veto. We're going to learn to work together. We're going to stop listening to our extremist bases and do what's best for the bulk of the people of the country, or nothing's going to get done, period. This is how it's going to be done because you guys aren't doing it. But that'll never happen. It's look at everybody who's running or is predicted to be running in 2024. It's more of the same. Nothing's going to change. Tracy says Biden and Trump are both pretty center. At least Obama was firmly liberal and Bush was firmly conservative. Not saying they were great, but at least they had opinions. Right. And what it is, Tracy, I agree with you. Biden and Trump are both pretty center, but they're both being manipulated, swayed by the extremists in their party. Right. Well, hell, Trump was a Democrat forever. So, I mean, him now being this hardcore conservative, he's not actually. What he is an extremist, or at least he's being buoyed by the extremists in the Republican Party. And now Biden has gone against pretty much everything he stood for his 50 years in office because of his concerns about the extreme left mobs. Philip says, I wouldn't be surprised if one of Biden's aides pulled the Dr. Strangelove. Mein Führer, I can walk. Oh, Lex is so dead on. And again, this goes to both sides. No, Curtis, you don't understand. Because one nutter did something stupid, that means everyone who has even remotely similar beliefs to that person is the exact same as them. That's what the news said. And you're right. That's exactly what it's become. On both sides. It's just like that idiot, what's her name, the singer there, wanted to change the American flag because it doesn't represent the bulk of American people anymore. It represents one specific group. What? Because you got a bunch of hillbilly idiots who are just abysmal people happen to like flying the American flag. That means if I fly it, I'm a white supremacist too? I mean, it's just asinine. It's ridiculous the thing people come up with. and I usually just ignore it because getting into contentious debate on social media rarely is fruitful at all because you're dealing with idiots. But I couldn't resist because they were coming down on anybody who flies an American flag on a pickup truck has to be eliminated type thing. That's basically what the post said. And this came from a blue check mark at Twitter. And it's like, I know personally, we live in a very rural area. 2 people who have pickup trucks, a lot of people do here, a lot of farm work and stuff, fly American flags all the time. Neither one of them is anything even close to resembling a white supremacist. They're just regular working folks who are just super hyper patriots. They're patriotic. They like flying the flag because they're proud of the country, and that's it. I know them personally. They're not looking to keep anything from anybody, take anything away from everybody. They got their flags in their truck because they're proud to be Americans. But no, because, as Lick said, because we saw some bad people that happen to fly their flag on their truck, now everybody has to be that person. That's the way we look at things now. CDV says, what do you think about Harrison Ford coming back as Indy now without Steven Spielberg? I don't know. I'm not a big Indiana Jones fan, CDV. I mean, I watched the first two. And they were okay. They're just not my specific type of movie. So I'm not really a good one to have a good take on it. A lot of people here would give you a better take on him being there without Spielberg than would I. Excuse me. I did. It was a while ago, Lex. Did you see that meme that's going around of an Instagram post where someone mistook a Denmark flag for a Confederate flag? Yes. And that's another thing you see nowadays constantly. People want to be vociferous, be indignant, be contentious, and not even really understand what they're talking about. They don't even have a full grasp of the issue at hand, and yet they still want to be loud about it. And that's a large part of the problem too. Jack says, if it's not a porno, I haven't seen it. Good call, Iron Panda. Iron Panda says, and I just smoke weed and play games. I'm dying to see Demon Slayer movie. I haven't yet. Olympics. I haven't. I'm gonna. Oh, Josh, and it was horrible too when they came back. My dad served in the army in Vietnam. He says, I understand disagreeing with a war, but blaming the soldiers is unnecessary. I'm not saying all soldiers are saints, but they still serve 100% right. It was horrible what was done to the returning soldiers. Listen, what they had to live through and then to be treated the way they were when they came back, that was a huge, huge blight on our history. Rosa says, fun fact, the first guerrilla war in history was during the Iberian War. Then and since then, a dictator has never managed to crush the guerrillas that arose under them other than states with no weapons. Yeah, that's why, and you're right, Rosa, that's why for certain people in political power throughout the world, disarming the populace is very important. Willie says, for a group that preach anti-hate, the SJWs really love to hate people for no reason. Yeah, and you're right, Willie. It's the extremists on both sides that are really into that, including the left. The ones who, love everybody and care about everybody, and we got to be accepting to everybody, unless that you happen to have an opposite perspective on this particular issue than do I, then you need to die. That's basically what it amounts to anymore. Tracy the Tasmanian Tiger, 100%. In the words of the Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz, some people without brains do an awful lot of talking. Ain't that the goddamn truth? Oh, yeah, I remember that, Cold Cuts. YouTube didn't remove Meat Canyon's Tom Brady animation, but they did call it child porn and gave his channel a strike. I remember that. They need to look up satire. Oh. YouTube is just, they're beyond hope now. They really are. Xander says, hey Curtis, how are you? Quick question. If Goku was constipated and he needed to take a shit, what would happen? Would he fire a Kamehameha or a spirit bomb out of his ass? I don't know, but that's something that needs to be looked into. I don't know how we go about figuring that out, but yeah, that definitely needs further research. I'm going to give you guys a quick link too, because again, now the standalone comedy videos I do are going over to Facebook. So just for anybody that wants to make sure they see them, and they're not going to come here. Susan doesn't send notifications out on them anyway. So most of them probably won't be coming here. So any of you that do have Facebook, if you want to see them, I'll just give you the link. Again, this isn't an attempt to try and drive up the numbers there. They're doing fine. I just, in case you guys want to see, because that's what I'm going to be doing when I'm done here, is recording footage for a couple of them. Going Nowhere says, would you rather have a conversation about religion or politics? For me, I prefer talking politics just because I'm not religious at all. I mean, I still like to have a good religion conversation, but, I'm not a religious person. Johnny says, I've seen videos of people tearing for people's flags in their yard. Yep. If someone tries to take away the flag I have in my yard, it won't end well for them. I mean that. I completely understand. Completely understand. Chrome says, had a chance to see the Demon Slayer movie, but would mean being in town till after 11 p.m. Oh, late show. I do want to see it. I do want to get. I'll have to wonder who around here, if anybody. We got one mall down in Albany that has the limited release movies a lot. I have to check with Spaz Kid. Oh, when can I get down there? Yeah, so I would really like to go down and see it. Fiona Fox says, religion is a very touchy subject for a lot of people. Absolutely, Fiona. I think even more so than politics, yeah. Well, maybe not nowadays because politics has become so volatile, but yeah, it's right there with it. I agree. Excuse me. Tapio says, free for all. Does this mean I can say dark jokes again? Always. Excuse me. Solara says, fuck me, Disney. A very SJW company tried to copyright the Day of the Dead, which is a part of a country's culture. How fucking dare it? Disney, talk about your God complex. It's all about Disney right there. Disney thinks they do own everything. Or they own most everything and believe they own even the parts that they don't. I saw something about that, Mackenzie. Mackenzie says it's the 12th anniversary of Michael Jackson's death. I saw something about that on social media. Brilliant entertainer. Creepy guy. Brilliant entertainer. All right, guys. Well, I got to go. Again, I've got the whole day. I wanted to play GTA 5 today, but I'm probably not going to get time. We have people coming over later. We're actually having a game night here tonight with some friends. So I probably won't get to today. I'm going to sure as hell try and get to it on the weekend, though. Oh, hold on. Zeno's here. I'm here now, he says. Just finished my Hero Academia manga. To the last chapter has got me all plus ultra. Everybody that's been reading the manga, Zeno, that's talked to me, has been nothing but amped. You guys got me jacked up for that. Yeah, that's such a great show anyway. Thomas says the Demon Slayer movie is streaming on Funimation. I watched it yesterday. Is it? I didn't know that. I thought it was still just in the theaters and stuff. Oh, shit. No, that's great, Thomas. I'll look that up. I'll look that up. Yeah, I'm dying to see it. Zeno, no, not bad time at all, pal. Not anytime. Don't worry about that. Come in anytime. Come in anytime. He's got sticky stuff. Guys, thanks for the chat. I really do appreciate it. Again, this is what we're going to be doing most of now is live streams and gaming streams. That'll be the bulk. Hell, the mainline content on the channel might switch to politics. I'm getting so worked up. If we don't do something in this fucking country, we're all screwed. But anyway, guys, thank you for Free For All Friday. Love Free For All Fridays. You guys just get me so jacked up. Now I'm like more jacked up and ready to go down and start recording the comedy videos. I just get jacked up for everything in my day after we have a stream. But this is Free For All Friday sticky stuff. It's the good stuff. It's the best stuff. I'm feeling it today. So very shortly, you're going to be feeling it because here it comes. Fuck off, train. Don't you ever interrupt the sticky stuff again. I'm going to have a problem with the train here. Pumpu. Sticky stuff for you, sticky stuff for you, Free For All Friday, sticky stuff for you, sticky stuff for you, and sticky stuff for you, sticky stuff for everybody, because we'll bang, okay? Flashes like buggy, and as always, most importantly, and that train will never derail this. Goosh, 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 goosh. Goosh.